I'm going to take Trevor through the scenario first of all. So this is as if I'm the nice, friendly lawyer, just for a couple of minutes. Then I'm going to cross-examine him. Okay, I represent the person who was poisoned. And we'll see how it goes. So can you just introduce yourself to the court?
My name is Stephen Holmes.
Stephen Holmes. And your role?
I'm a gas manager for Conference Housing Association.
You're a gas manager. So you're responsible for how many properties?
500.
Okay. Now, in terms of the installation programme, is that handled internally or externally?
Installation programme, we have some of both, some internal and some external.
Mm-hmm. General maintenance work on the housing stock, is that handled internally?
No, we use contractors outside to do that.
Contractors for that. Okay. This was in relation to 42 Acacia Avenue. The property, can you tell me about its system that it had in place?
Yeah, 42 Acacia Avenue has got it's got a cooker downstairs, which is the tenants. It's got a boiler upstairs in the airing cupboard.
Mm-hmm. And how is that extracted?
The flue system goes up through the roof and out to atmosphere that way.
So the flue goes through the loft.
Yep.
And out through the roof.
Yeah.
So the tiles have a...
Yep, it goes out through the...
Okay. The storms in January, what happened to the property as a result of the storms?
Some of the properties in Acacia Avenue got damaged, and 42 Acacia Avenue was one of those. It got damaged. There was some damage up on the roof around that area where it went out through the roof.
So what did you task in relation to that? What was the outcome?
Well, we do some of our stuff internally. We have internal teams that look after the because I just do the gas. That's all. I mean, sure. My thing is just I do the gas servicing. That's all I do. Okay, that's all I do. And what we've got other teams with inside that do some internal work and some external work, and they were repairing the roof.
Okay. And as a result of that repair, obviously we've found out since, what happened when they were repairing the roof tiles?
Well, when they were repairing it, what they did, one of the blokes, well, I say blokes, he lifted the flue bit up, okay, and it became detached in the loft.
Right. But he didn't know that at the time,
No. He should have done, well, he should have checked, really, shouldn't he? It was down to him.
Okay. So, as a result of the flue being detached, what then happened over the next weeks, months?
Well, you probably don't understand this, but the flue gases go up and they have to get fresh air coming back in, and because it was detached, it went into the loft, the flue gases, and they all got pulled down back into the boiler. So over time, it got vitiated. That means not enough oxygen, and it started to produce carbon monoxide into the loft space.
I see. And I believe there then came a point in time when the tenant went up into the loft. Can you explain what happened?
Yeah, I think the gentleman went upstairs. I think they were going on holiday, and he went upstairs to get some suitcases and stuff down. And I think he felt a bit funny and come back down, and his missus took him to hospital.
What was the outcome of that?
I think they did a blood test, and he had 20% COHP. That's carbon monoxide in his blood.
Okay, Mr. Holmes, did you know that you were coming to court today to give evidence?
Yeah,
you did.
I had it in my diary.
Okay. Mr. Holmes, you may not be aware of this, but that isn't actually what happened.
Isn't it?
Yes, I moved the goalposts. He died.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you're now at a coroner's inquest.
Okay, I didn't have that bit.
No, you didn't.
Was it on the agenda?
No. It's a bit more serious than that. He died as a result of the carbon monoxide poisoning. Mm-hmm. Okay, now I'm going to cross-examine. That was a nice bit. So now you can see the scenario. As a result of this incident, the tenant is deceased. There is a coroner's inquest. I am instructed by the family of the deceased. When someone dies, normally there is no such thing as a tragic accident if you're the family. It shouldn't have happened. Surely something could have been done to prevent it. So I could be instructed to blame somebody. You'll do. Mr. Holmes, can I just clarify a couple of points, if I may? You're the gas manager for the Housing Association, so effectively you have overall responsibility for the gas systems.
Servicing and maintenance.
So the buck stops with you, basically,
Servicing and
doesn't
maintenance,
it? Yeah. And as part of your role, I take it you have to ensure that any subcontracted work is handled appropriately.
Well, I just do serving and maintenance. That's all I do. I look after, because what you got to understand is we service them every year, make them safe, keep the tenants safe. We're really important about that. And so what I do is I make sure the boilers are serviced every year and maintained in a safe condition. That's what I look after.
Well, this particular boiler wasn't safe during this year, was it?
It was when we checked it.
Yes, but during that period, some of your staff, or staff subcontracted by you, caused this incident to occur.
Yeah, but it weren't me, it was the maintenance guys in the roofing department.
You're here representing the Housing Association, aren't you?
Well, I do the servicing and maintenance.
Yes, but you have overall responsibility for these systems, don't you?
Yeah, and I do, and I look after them every year.
In this particular system, you clearly didn't monitor any works that were being carried out during the service intervals.
Under the regulations, right, we have to check them every year, 12 months, that's a year, okay?
Indeed.
We checked it, and it was okay. When we went back to check it, it would have been okay again if someone hadn't done that, and it weren't my guys.
But they are subcontracted by you. I take it there's some sort of duty of care issue here, isn't there, that you have to ensure any subcontractors carry out their work appropriately?
Yeah, but that's Mr. Smith looks after all the... you should have Mr. Smith in here, because he looks after...
Well, Mr. Smith will be giving evidence in a moment.
Well, you give him a going as well, because it ain't fair, mate.
But you should be working in conjunction with Mr. Smith, shouldn't you, to ensure that any work that is carried out, you have an input into it?
I know, but he works down the other end of the office. Do you know how far that is?
The point
I
here...
can't go and talk to him, right, about everything that he does, because I have to look after the service and the maintenance. It's safe on that day, it's safe on that day. That's my job, that's what I do.
The tenants expect the Housing Association to ensure that they are safe. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
And isn't it also reasonable to assume that a tenant will expect different individuals within the Housing Association to talk to each other?
Yeah.
You should work as a team.
But my team do service and maintenance.
You'll get to your team in a moment. Any other work that is being carried out that could impact on these systems, you should be identifying that that may happen. There should be policies in place for any subcontractors to provide assurance that they're not going to undertake any of that work until you have been asked to input. But it wasn't done here, though, was it?
But Mr. Smith looks after all the roofing stuff, okay? And I look after the service.
He is not an expert in these systems, though, is he?
You are. He knows his roofs.
He knows his roofs. We didn't know his roofs here, did he? Because he caused the fatality.
Yeah, but they didn't. They were just working on the... And they had to do that to what was I supposed to do? I do service and maintenance. It was safe on that day. It's going to be safe on that day if no one touches it.
Was there anything in the service agreement with the subcontractors to say that if they do anything that could impact on the integrity of the gas systems, that they have to come back to you first?
I don't know.
You don't know? Well, don't you think you should know?
I don't do roofs.
Is it foreseeable that other contractors could cause damage to the systems you are responsible for? Is that foreseeable?
Probably, yeah.
Probably. And it's your duty to foresee certain risks.
Yeah, but if I don't know the roofing's being done, how can I be responsible?
So this is a breakdown in communication, effectively.
But Mr. Smith should have checked it when he was doing it, because he knows about roofs, and I'd have thought he'd have known that.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that Mr. Smith was negligent?
It wasn't my fault.
That's not the question I'm asking. Do you think he was negligent in having that work undertaken, given that it caused the fatality?
Yeah. It was all in.
Pause there. Relax. Okay, well done, Tro. Take a seat. It's like the man from Del Monte on acid, isn't it? Right. I've only got a short period of time to sort of give you some handy tips. Normally we would provide like a whole day's session on how to give evidence. So we had to sort of ham it up a little bit there just to have a bad example. But there's a couple of things if you're giving evidence that you may not be aware of unless you've been told the rules of the game. So I'm just going to go through a couple of them, and I hope you listen to this. I haven't told them in advance because you're going to have to put it right in a moment. First one is that you've got to remember, as a lawyer, I'm not interested in the truth. As a barrister, I'm not interested in the truth. I'm interested in proof. Can you prove what was done? Can you actually give me evidence that you discharged your duty? Yeah? So what we're looking for here is evidence to back up the assertions. So reference to documents is very important here. We didn't get much of that there, did we? No. You'll never convince me that you are anything other than totally negligent, totally responsible for the death. That's my brief. I'm representing the family. You'll never convince me no matter what you say here. But it doesn't matter. I don't get a vote on the outcome. Who decides the outcome of the hearing? The judge, if it's a judge, a jury, if there's a jury. Coroner's inquest, could be the coroner on their own. A more serious inquest, sometimes they have juries for coroner's courts. Chances are your type of situations, it would just be a coroner. It's the coroner who has to believe you. So therefore, there's a golden rule of giving evidence in any forum. This applies if you are going through divorces and things and there's going to be a hearing. Mr. Holmes, you have overall responsibility for the management of the systems. Is that correct?
In my role as gas manager, I'm responsible for the servicing and maintenance of all the properties within Conference Housing Association.
But as I've already heard, in this particular case, with respect to 42 Acacia Avenue, the Housing Association, through its subcontractors, carried out work on the roof, which caused the deceased to suffer fatal poisoning. How does that make you feel?
Obviously, I'm devastated that someone's died through this, but I don't think my feelings really have anything to do with the processes and procedures that were in place to carry out the work.
But it was preventable, wasn't it?
I don't know if I can express an opinion upon that. I mean, I'm here to talk about what we did and the processes and procedures that were in place. Whether it's preventable or not, I don't think I can answer that.
Okay. What particular process and procedures could have been put in place that would have negated this outcome?
There are processes and procedures in place within the Housing Association, which I believe we followed when we went through the actions that we took on the day.
So you undertook some form of risk assessment?
Mr. Smith, in his role, has processes and procedures that he looks at. I wasn't actually involved in the risk assessment before the work took place.
But you're aware that there is a risk assessment process that Mr. Smith would have had to have conducted?
Can I just finish the answer? Thank you. Yeah, there are risk assessments and that are in place. So I believe that Mr. Smith would have gone through those as he does as part of his duty. Obviously, I don't know whether he did or not. I didn't actually check whether he went through the procedures. But the answer to the question really is there are processes and procedures in place that Mr. Smith should have gone through, and that is what I believe would have happened.
Mr. Holmes, there's been a lot of talk during this inquest about policies and procedures and systems. No mention of governance. It's all well and good having policies and procedures written down, isn't there? But someone has to check that they're being carried out appropriately. What about this issue of governance, though? It's a big issue. You can write as many policies as you want. How do we know people are following them? Before you subcontract, we want assurances from the subcontractor. They will take certain steps. Yes, we'll do that. We'll sign to give assurance. Yeah, fine. But where's the monitoring? Where's the governance to ensure that once they've got the contract, they're actually carrying out the works appropriately. If you subcontract, is it your duty to ensure there's governance in place? But that costs money. But when you end up here, I think a coroner or a judge is going to say, I'm sorry, ultimately the duty of care still lies with you as the housing association. You cannot pass the buck totally. You've still got to be monitoring the situation. And I think that's where a lot of cases fall down on the governance, not so much have you got a policy in place. Yeah?
Systemic failure and individual failure on the size of the fines now.
Yeah, systemic failure and individual failure. One of the things you're going to get is, I don't want you to be to blame.
Nor do I.
Yeah, because if it's an individual who didn't follow any process procedure, the organisation can step aside and say, what more can we do? We had someone who just totally ignored every policy procedure. There's no way we can prevent that from happening. But that's no good for me because you don't have any money. The organisation has the money. So I will be almost pushing the individual to blame their own organisation. I wasn't given the time myself, the budget, the support to put the right policies in place. Yes, I knew we were a bit light on them. However, I had so many other responsibilities. I asked for more staff, didn't get it, and I will almost throw a lifeline to the witness. So I'll say, so basically, what you're actually saying is you did the best you could.
Yeah.
I mean, you messed it up, but you did the best you could given the staffing levels you had.
Yeah.
Don't you feel let down by your organisation to some degree?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, the witness is thinking, oh, I just have to agree with him and I'm out of here. He's not going to blame me if I just agree with everything he's saying. I am using the witness against their own organisation. But that's a very attractive proposition when you're in the box, when suddenly you just have to agree and you're off the hook. But your organisation is probably up on a charge. So I want to go for systemic failures, not individual rogue employees. Yeah? Any other questions before we break? I'm aware of the time constraints. I think that's about 10:02, isn't it? Okay, well, thank you for listening. I hope it's broken up the day to some degree. And I think Trevor needs to be congratulated for being willing to come up here and go through this little scenario. So can I just have a round of applause for Trevor again? My colleague over at the back, John, and myself, we've got a trade stand in the other hall, so we're here for...